Hello, everybody. How you doing today? OMENESA here, coming to you live from New York City. I hope all of you are well today. Yes. So today is Wednesdays, and you guys know that I tackle emotional healing. That's all I was called to do. And God has been using me in different facets, from my music to my writing to my organization, even the business that I do. Everything is to aid emotional healing. And my message is absolutely nothing happens in the grave. Once again, my name is OMENESA Oruma Akomalafe, aka Lady O. Thank you all so much for being here today. There's so much glare, and I know that you guys are very used to me using a different location. But we're gonna have to use this today because my living room is cold. And I haven't had the time to warm it up. But I really, really want to talk to everybody today about the situation with our sister in Nigeria who passed away from domestic violence, Osinachi. And I usually tell people that I am called to Nigerians. And I remember somebody being very upset one day, and she was like, how can you say that you're called to a Nigerian when you're a Nigerian? No, please listen. I know Chinese people, Asian people who are called to Jamaicans. I know Jamaicans who are called to Americans. I know Americans who are called to Germans. Okay, so God has a specific call and a specific purpose that he has given to people to be used in specific regions. Okay, and the fact that you are from Asia doesn't mean that God has given you a call to Asians. God has given me a call to Nigeria. And that's why even when I'm in America, I'm always about Nigeria. Everything about me is Nigeria. I am a reigning queen now for Women of Achievement in California. And they specifically told me to run for queen as an international queen because they said that in my interview, it was very, very obvious that I was passionate about Nigeria. So with that being said, every facet and everything that has to do with Nigeria is very, very concerning to me. I married a Nigerian man. I have Nigerian parents. My whole life is Nigerian, but I'm also 100% very, very much American in my mannerisms and in everything that I do. And I thank God for the diversity that he has given to me. Now, the area of emotional healing is what I have been called to do for years. And this will be an injustice for me not to say anything about this. I didn't want to say anything, but the reason that I had to say something was when I read on the internet that this woman was weak, and that's why she didn't leave. So now let me speak to my Nigerians. Let me get down to the matter here. Number one, nothing happens in the grave. So all this talk, the grave has met our sister. She is gone. Now, I thank God that now this has brought up the rot that is going on in our culture. It is a serious problem. I'm not going to talk to you about the beating and about all of that. What I'm going to talk to you about is why she did not leave. I don't know anything about her family. I don't know anything about her background, but I know enough about abuse in my career, in my profession, the women who come to me, the men who come to me, and how much I have studied. And I am a woman who is 2 years to 40. I have been through some things in my life. I've been through trauma. So I know enough to tell you to a certain extent why people stay in abuse. So please excuse me, like I'm going to be roaming from here. Like my eyes are going to be roaming from here and to here because I have my notes, okay? So my cheat sheet. So I have 6 points to share with you today. Number one is abuse attracts abuse. Nigeria is a narcissistic system. I do not care. Yes, you can be patriotic. I am patriotic. When I minister, I'm wearing my Nigerian outfit. I visit Nigeria all the time. I eat Nigerian food. I am all Nigeria. I am all about Nigeria. But that doesn't mean that I would not speak about the demons that are in our country. Nigeria is a narcissistic nation. Nigeria is narcissistic. It is a system that is narcissistic. That system started long before you and I were born. So it's not something that started today. Okay? It's not something that started today. This is prominent in the church. Now, there is something about Nigeria, right? I am a minister. There is no place that I haven't sang. Well, I'm not saying it as in like specificity, but I have sang in crusades. I have sang in caves. Okay. So God has been gracious. He has opened doors for me. And I can tell you one thing is that in Nigeria, when a woman comes up to say this is happening in my marriage, or even when a man says this is happening in my marriage, the first thing is, go and pray. You're not being submissive enough. A woman, a wise woman builds her home. If you are a man, they will tell you, go and pray. Be the Lord of your wife. Be Jesus Christ to your wife. Your wife will not be like this if you are not like this. There is always a condition as to why things are not the way that they are supposed to be. And then God help you if you are a minister. You will not be invited to come and sing again now, Ashu. You should sing for what? Who are you singing to? When you cannot control your own family, then you're going to come and you'll be ministering. Who are you ministering to? What are you ministering for? So that is kept. The secret of abuse, different forms of abuse, is kept within the person. So, number one, Nigeria is narcissistic, which means AKA hypocritical. And it's not like we are intentionally this way. This is something that we came to that we found ourselves in, where we talk about everybody, but we don't talk about ourselves. When we are dying on the inside, but we would rather save everybody, but save ourselves. It is a problem. It is a serious problem. When pastors are preaching about everything except for narcissism in marriage, except for abuse in marriage, except for the fundamental things. Everything about Nigeria is exterior. How you look, how you talk, how you it is amazing. When I tell people in Nigeria that I'm working on my PhD, their response is totally different from when I'm in the US and I say that I'm working on my PhD. It's completely different. People will be looking at you somehow, and then once they now find out what your last name is or where you're from or the country you're from, even if you don't even look like you've traveled anywhere, but for the fact that somebody now knows that, oh, you really don't even live in Nigeria. Oh, wow. They completely change. Their whole personality changes towards you. We are all about the exterior in Africa. Therefore, because we are all about the exterior in Africa, this is why women and men hide the pain that they are going through in their marriages. Because in Africa, whatever is on the outside is what sustains. This is not just in Nigeria. Whatever is on the outside is what will sustain. If you cannot handle your business, you can't handle your marriage, then you are nothing. If you cannot have any children, you are nothing. I know people who are not invited to speak at women conventions because they don't have children. I know people who are not invited to speak because they are single. What do they have to talk about? They have not been through life now. We are our very own problem. Why did this woman stay? Many reasons. Number one is the culture that she found herself in. She found herself in a hypocritical culture. Number two is the religion that she found herself in. There is a difference between Christianity and religion. Once again, there is a difference between Christianity and religion. Religion in Nigeria is religion. Really, it is law. Christianity is not law. Christianity is love. Christianity is peace. Religion as a whole is peace. Let's not just talk of Christianity. But whenever a religion starts to hurt a person, it has become a cult. It is now religion. It is not spirituality. She found herself in that position. She found herself in a culture that is full of toxicity, in a culture that is abusive, In Nigeria, we call people stupid. We just talk anyhow. We are very, very abrasive, very aggressive, and it is very normal. It is actually normal. And then when somebody now complains, you are too sensitive. You too they do now. Just this small thing, we minimize and we trivialize the pain of people, and it is very, very natural in Africa. So if we trivialize and minimize very, very small things in our children, in our husbands, in our wives, of course we will trivialize the problems of people outside. And then people start getting used to the fact that nobody is going to listen to me. Nobody is going to take me seriously. Why should I tell them my problems? When they will open the Bible, they will quote scripture. Meanwhile, all the people who are quoting scripture, they have found ways to ease their own pain. They are sleeping with other people. They have found ways to ease their own pain. They are doing drugs. They have found ways to ease their own pain. They have buried themselves into their work so that they can completely distract themselves from the fire that is in their homes. They have found ways to fix their own problems, or let me just say, to manage their own problems. So of course now they will come and tell you that a wise woman builds her home. And then we have pastors who don't preach about these things. We have pastors who would sleep with choir members instead of working out their own marriages. Those pastors are also in pain. And this is not just pastors, please. I'm talking about everybody. But the reason why I mention pastors is because that the people who we look up to, the pastors who we look up to, the leaders who we look up to are also going through their own pain. And they too have found themselves in a culture where they cannot talk. We are in a culture in Africa where the higher you go, you can't say anything. See, I live in New York, okay? The good thing about America, and first of all, I was born and raised here. So, like, I don't want anyone to say, oh, okay, now she is living there, and now she's now trying to talk to us. No, I am full-blooded, 100% in both countries, from both countries. And I have a passion for both. And let me tell you something about America. The higher somebody goes, the more humble they become. It's the opposite in Africa. You see, in Africa, the higher we go, the more we must protect our position because of what people will say. Right from childhood, we were taught, what will people say? Right from childhood. We were already groomed like that. So we've groomed our own selves like that. Then we groom our children like that. Then we groom our congregation like that. This is what is happening. This woman could not leave. Number one, she couldn't live because of her culture. What will people say? Number two, she couldn't live because of her religion. I am a singer. I have been paid in millions and I have been paid in pennies. And let me tell you, if you are divorced in Nigeria, it is the woman's fault. It is amazing. It is amazing. This same man, whether he hit anybody or did not hit anybody, I am telling you, you will be so surprised about a fraction of people who will still defend his behavior. If that woman was to leave him, they will say, hey, now what did she do that made him to treat her like that? That's the culture that we live in. We don't face facts. We are so engulfed in fallacies in Africa. It is unbelievable because we lie to our very own selves. When I was a teacher in Nigeria for about 2-3 years, I had students coming to tell me about how their parents will use razor blades on their body as a form of punishment. For goodness sake, if that is normal in a country, if this is normal, and here I was like completely traumatized because I wasn't raised in that type of system. Then when I tell all the other teachers and I tell everybody, like, they'll be looking at me like, And I was like, what? Like, this is normal. We are used to abuse in Africa. Every form of abuse. Children are used to feeding their parents in Africa. Wives are used to feeding their husbands. Husbands are used to just doing everything and calling the shots. Pastors are used to hurting in private. But then they come out and they come out with their anointing and they come out with their glitz and with their glam. Pastors' wives are completely, like their mouths are sealed. Completely sealed. And with a broken heart, they are there to give to people, to love to people, to be mama, to be pastors' wives. It is painful and it is wicked. Now, do you know what makes it wicked? What makes it wicked is that we have refused to actually show the love of Christ. First of all, you show the love of Christ to yourself by telling yourself the truth. Come on, hey, I have a problem. I have an issue. There is a problem going on here. And then when you can tell your own self the truth, then you can tell somebody else the truth as well. And then we can all love each other the way that Christ does. But as long as we have all these defense mechanisms taking matters into our own hands, nothing will change. Nothing will change. So first of all, she couldn't leave because of the country. She couldn't leave because of culture. Now, there is something called trauma bonding. Okay, trauma bonding. Now, what does trauma bonding mean? Trauma bonding is when you are involved in a deep emotional attachment that develops into a relationship, right? So if you were raised by parents who were abusive, maybe you had an uncle who was abusive, you had a father who was abusive, a mother who was abusive. So number one, you were already attracted to abuse. Abuse attracts abuse. All this thing of, oh my goodness, I don't know what happened. He just changed overnight. Oh, she just changed overnight. It is a lie. Nobody changed overnight. You actually saw all of those signs, but you know what they say, love is blind, right? Okay, so you saw those signs. Now, the reason why you were attracted to that person in the first place is because that you already have the capacity to handle abuse. Because when you were growing up, you already handled abuse. When you were growing up, you already endured abuse. It was either your mother beat you or your father beat you. Now, listen, I am not talking about spanking. No, I am talking about being beaten to where you are bleeding. I am talking about where your body is swollen. I am talking about when you tell people that this is what you are going through, and they're like, what are you talking about? Is it because of that small thing? When you go to school and your parents have not paid your school fees, it is only in Africa, your parents have not paid your school fees and they beat you because your parents have not paid your... Do you know what that does to your head? Do you know what that does to your mind? That tells you that it is your fault. Whatever happens is your fault. This is a problem in that country. This is a problem in our country. We have people who are punished for things that they did not do. I saw it. At least I did my primary and a little bit of my secondary in Nigeria. I saw how my friends will be beaten because their parents didn't pay their school fees. So it is already in their mind right from when they are young. It is already in their mind that they will pay for sins they did not commit. It is a wicked nation. It is a wicked nation. And that's why we are going around in circles. Trauma bonding. You get used to abuse. You get used to abuse. You get used to it. And then you tell yourself that the longer you stay in it, you've stayed in it for this long. Where are you going? At least let you get something out of it. Okay, in her case, she had four children. Let her get something out of it. Maybe he would change. The more that I'm singing, the more that I'm ministering, God will have mercy on me and he will change my husband. And then the trauma bonding, you get used to abuse. You get used to addiction. You get used to abuse. The higher the abuse, the longer you stay, the harder it is for you to leave. Those of you who are saying that this woman was weak, come on. You've been in situations, okay, haven't you been at a job where you were being paid below your pedigree? You know that it was below your pedigree, but you still stayed. Why? Because all of your investment that you had put, okay, maybe they will soon change the boss. Maybe the management will still... There is always this maybe, and you're living for maybe. And one day you wake up, you're 65. Boom, retirement. And now you have to settle for whatever pension you're being given, which of course is in pennies. It's not that you didn't know that there was anything better. It is not that you didn't know that you deserved more. But you just kept on thinking that this person is going to change also because of the culture that you have found yourself in, and then because of the religion that you have found yourself in, the cult that you have found yourself in, because that is not a religion. And then, of course, now you are addicted to pain. This is something that you suffered with your own father. You suffered with your mother. You watched your mother suffer it. You watched your father suffer it. You watched your brother suffer it. You watched the society suffer it. So why can't you suffer it? Somebody called this woman weak, and that's why I said, you know what, I am doing this video, because that woman was not weak. Do you know what it means to show up and minister? Do you know how many times I have shown up and minister? I remember when I went to sing at Bishop Goddy Okafor's church. He invited me to sing in Aba, in Nigeria. I remember I was hemorrhaging. From an IVF that I did for twins. I went to Aba in pain. Every bit of me was in pain. I ministered. Do you know how many times I ministered on that pain? You say, hey now, why can't you stay at home? There are two reasons. Number one, that is what makes me happy. You understand? This is what I do. Singing is what I do. Ministering is what I do. This is my life. This is my oxygen. This is my safety net. This is my escape. Number two, this is my livelihood. This is where I eat from. This is where I eat from. This is how I buy my pad. This is how I buy my clothes. This is how I make my hair. This is how I pay for my business. This is how I take care of myself. This is how I pay for my tuition. This is how I take care of my PhD. This is how I take care of my nursing degree. The Bible says that your gift to make a way for you. I should sit down and allow a man or allow a woman completely stifle my gift and then I don't eat? No. And then I have 4 children? Come on. This is why she didn't leave. She also didn't leave because of the stigma. Where would she start from? In Nigeria, who is going to marry you again? With 4 children. Not to think about all the drama, all the brouhaha that may happen, who will now try to claim the children, whether she keeps the children, she doesn't keep the children. I mean, come on, it's too much. So by the time that you calculate all of that, you don't, let me just cuckoo stay. Now, there are many types of domestic violence. Verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse, spiritual abuse, sexual abuse. In Africa, physical abuse and financial abuse is more prominent. In the US, there is physical abuse, but emotional abuse and financial abuse is like on a high. Okay. Now, it is only in Africa that people are comfortable where the woman is carrying like the bulk of family responsibilities. And this is something that has been going on for years. So this is not a new thing, right? That is abuse. Silent treatment, that is abuse. I am the man of this house. Or a woman using her children to manipulate the husband, that is abuse. Spiritual abuse, you will open Bible or the Quran and you will now say, this is what the spouse is supposed to do. This. Look, you don't have rights anymore. You lose your rights as a spouse. Those rights, you lose those rights as a spouse when you do not abide to God's rights. When you don't abide to God's rights, you have lost your rights. And then there is sexual abuse. Sexual abuse. Today, you would use sex to punish your spouse. It's either you don't give it to her, or you don't give it to him, or you don't give it at the right time, or you starve them for 3 months, or just all of that is abuse. That is all domestic violence. Now, there's something called narcissism. Okay, to be narcissistic is when you get to the point of where you start to hurt people because you are hurt. This is where you are excessively selfish. Now, a man or a woman who is beating their spouse, they have gotten to the point of narcissism. Okay, so that is to the point of narcissism. Now, everybody has an element of narcissism. Every single person has an element of narcissism. Okay, however, when it gets to the point that you lose self-reflection, you lose your conscience, you understand? You cannot even think come on, like that thing that I said or that thing that I did, Kai. No, I was not supposed to do that. When you start losing your conscience like that, then you are actually heightening the level of narcissism that is in you. And then it gets to a point where you can literally carry a knife and kill somebody. And you're like, oh. That's why, like, the Bible was talked about the prodigal son, that when he came to himself, so he was overtaken by pride, he was overtaken by greed, he was overtaken by anger, he was overtaken, right? He was overtaken. So A person who is beating his wife, or a woman who is beating her husband, or any form of abuse has been overtaken. They have been overtaken by flesh. They have been overtaken, period. They have been overtaken by their own agenda. I will show you they have been overtaken. They've been overtaken. And every single one of us has had that moment of being overtaken. But when you cannot call yourself back and say, kai, this has gone too much, or come, you be like, say, this, your behavior, get as it be. When you can no longer call yourself to order, you start slipping into narcissistic personality disorder. Now, let me tell you the danger of this. The brain starts to change. Listen. Do you know why you wake up in the morning and then you now pee and then you poop and then you brush your teeth and then you see, all of that, like your brain has been programmed. Your brain has a certain shape. Your brain has taken onto a certain form, right? When you start doing maladaptive things, your brain is also changing. People who were abused have a different type of brain. You can go and study it. You can do your research. If you were abused, excessive beating, you were raised in a polygamous home, you were raised with intimidation, with codependency, you were raised in a divorced home, you were adopted, you were raised with gaslighting, intimidation, deflecting, you were dismissed, you were ostracized. When you are raised in a place of environment, you grew up in a place where you always have to prove a point, you always have to prove yourself. You are crying alone or you're hurting alone. And your brain is different. Your brain starts to change. And it is your brain that controls every single thing that you do. It gets to a point where the brain literally starts to control you. Oh, yes, this is a fact. This is why when people are addicted to drugs, addicted to alcohol, addicted to anything, they must be placed in a facility. And let me tell you, there are some times that even the doctor would say this situation has gotten to a point that even the treatment could kill the patient because the narcissism, the problem, the disease is stronger than the treatment. The brain, the system, the psyche cannot accept the treatment because it is too strong. It has been overtaken. So you see all those small things that some of us do. All those small things that we do, I will not talk to her, I will not talk to him, I will steal this one, I will do that one. All those maladaptive things that we do, those things grow. You are training your brain that it is okay to be wicked. You are training your brain that it is okay to be selective with the things that you choose to do and the things that you do not do. You are training your brain that it is okay. And then you think that you are spiritual. You think that you are a Christian. Let me tell you something. God arrested me. God arrested me. Showed myself to me, gone. He said, OMENESA, this one, 100%. In fact, 500. This one, OMENESA, 0. This one, 10. This one, 50. It is you that will now say, come on. Even I said that this Christianity, like I'm just using God for my bidding. I will just use God. I will be worshiping God. I'll be fasting and praying. I'll be praying for people and all of that. All of that one is for my bidding. Am I living according to how he wants me to live? Am I responding the way that he wants me to respond? I have a problem. I was raised in abuse. If you were raised in abuse, you have the propensity to be an abuser. It is a no-brainer. And then you're in a country that is abused. The country itself is abusive. Everybody is just managing. Nigerians are the strongest people that I know in this world because we face adversity on every side. Every side. Every side. Every side. So where was she going to? She couldn't have left. There's no way. Then there's something called codependence. So I've talked to you about trauma bonding. The more you get abused, the more used to it. Like the more you get used to it. Okay? And then now you start fighting for something to come out of your investment. So the longer you sow, how will you get an investment if you're not in the race? It's not possible now. So you now stay so that you can get a recompense, dividends for your investment. And that's why you're still staying. Of course, this whole time, everybody is telling you that a wise woman built her home. Of course, at this time, everybody is telling you to fast and pray and to be submissive. Now, I have another point. Men need healing. A healed world is going to be determined by a man. Since we say that it is a man's world, okay. Our leaders have to be healed. Men, I urge you, don't be like your father anymore. Sure, you were not raised without a father. You're telling yourself that because you're not as absent as how your father was, so you are a father and you are a good husband, but you're beating your wife, or silent treatment for months, or you're sleeping with somebody else, or all of that. But you keep on telling yourself that you are not as bad as. You're not as bad as Baba. You are not as bad as your father. You are not as bad as your uncle. You are not as bad as your sister. You are not as bad. Don't use your measuring stick. Should not be that of a person. It should be that of God's. It should be that of God. When you now realize, come on, I cannot meet up to this standard, then that is when you now humble yourself in the sight. Humble yourself in the sight of the Lord. Humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, and He will lift you high, higher and higher, and He will lift you high. Your promotion, the height in which you will attain, is from how low you are willing to go and prostrate to God. God, I don't know how to love this man. I don't know how to love this woman. I don't even know how to love myself, God. I don't know how to love. I don't know how to love because of where I'm coming from. I don't know. Tell yourself the truth. Stop lying to yourself. Because as long as you lie to yourself, you lie to people. And that is what we have in Nigeria. It is a farce. It is a show. Yes. We have people in Nigeria who are walking around with trauma, with anxiety, with pain. Pain. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not onto your own understanding. But for goodness sake, when we look to the left and we look to the right, our father is not supporting us, mother is not supporting us, church is not supporting us, sister is not supporting us, family is not supporting us. Oh my goodness. And even you yourself, you know that your own understanding is not even as strong. So where do you run to? That's how we have people who kill themselves. We have people who are stuck in depression. This is why this woman couldn't leave. She was suffocating, but she couldn't leave. She was being intimidated, but she couldn't leave. Gaslighted, but she couldn't leave. People will tell you to keep on praying. God will bless you. This is your cross. Carry it. Everybody has a cross. This is your cross. She wouldn't have been invited to minister, so let's just stop all of that one. When I was in Nigeria, like I know certain churches that called me on my way going to minister. They saw me on Instagram. They saw me on Facebook. It's either they will contact me or they will contact my husband. They know how OMENESA is. So they invited me with my pink lipstick, my pink nails. They invited me. 30 minutes to the ministration time. As I am coming, they will call and say, please, did you bring a scarf? I mean, this is Nigeria that we are talking about, okay? Do you know how many times I have had to do a U-turn because I didn't have a scarf in my bag? Or how many times my husband has put a scarf in my bag on my way to minister. Meanwhile, when they saw you ministry, they saw you with no hair tie. That is ordinary hair tie. You now want to talk about marriage? Where in Nigeria, if you are not married, you are nobody now. If you don't have children, you are nobody. And please, let's stop blaming the pastors. Because they too have their own wahala. And the thing too about love is, even if the pastor told you, don't marry this person, or this is what is happening. Pastor, I love him. Oh, pastor, I love her. God told me that she's the one. Okay. And you know, when somebody says that God said, we have trauma bonding here. We have the types of abuse, the different forms of abuse. This woman could not leave. We have men who need to be healed. Men need to be healed, especially in Africa. We have a lot of men who were raised with absentee fathers, who were raised in abuse, and now they are only replicating where they are coming from. We have men who have been schooled and made a lot of money or gained a lot of education, and then they use that as a substitute for character. You cannot substitute for character. That is something that you build. Now, what is the cure to this? It's therapy. If you were raised in an abusive situation, even if you have all the money in the world, all the education, and you think that you're fine, if you are overreactive to situations, if you suffer from depression, you know that you don't handle matters well. You know that you're still being abused in different forms, or you attract abuse. You're not fully healed. You need to see a therapist. There are therapists in Nigeria. There are coaches in Nigeria. I am an emotional healing coach. I'm doing my master's in death, and I literally got into the study of emotions. Like my show on NTA called Emotions started in 2017, and then as far as credentials, I'm in the nursing profession. I have held my organization Pearls and Pulse International for 11 years, and we are all about emotional healing. I also own a university called Emotional Healing University. I'm talking about in terms of credentials, but there are people in Nigeria who are therapists, who are licensed. They are not coaches. They are literally licensed. They can help you with trauma bonding. And then a psychiatrist can help you with the shape of your brain. Look, if you were raised in abuse or you're suffering from abuse, the shape of your brain has changed. This is a fact. Therefore, your brain is going to be doing involuntary things and even receiving information that may be fogged, that may be skewed. Okay, that is not even real. Yes. The fact that you look normal does not mean that you're normal. I know the Nigerians, I don't like to use that word. Like, I've noticed something about our culture. It's when you use words like wicked, words like you're not normal, words like you're stupid. It sounds like an insult. But the truth is that, really, if you lack information, you are ignorant. You know. If you decide to continue doing stupid things, you are stupid. If you do wicked things, you are wicked. So, if you are not normal, you are abnormal. It's not an insult. We have to start telling ourselves the truth. The moment we can tell ourselves the truth, all will be well. All will be well. My mantra is nothing happens in the grave. God bless every single person that has tried to salvage this situation. But this woman now is in the Holy of Holies, and she's worshiping. And I am so sorry that she was used as a conduit, as a scapegoat, but as a conduit to bring about this topic, narcissism in Africa, narcissistic personality disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder is real. It is a defense mechanism that can turn you into an actual vampire. All you do is take. All you do is hurt people. You lack the ability to see the pain, feel the pain that you cause people. And you validate it with religion, you validate it with culture, you validate it with all kinds of things. I am telling you that if you give that man a microphone now, you may be shocked that he may tell you the reasons why he beats. Somebody who is a narcissist will always have a reason for why they do the things that they do. Because there's no room for reflection. No, I shouldn't have done this. So the bottom line is that we all need healing, therapy, and submitting yourself to God. Not leaning on your own understanding, doing exactly what God has called you to do. I am going to finish this in a few seconds. Do exactly what God has told you to do, not what you feel like doing. If all of us did what we felt like doing, we will all be in prison. We will be in jail. So do exactly what God has called you to do. Say exactly what He has called you to do. And when you don't know what to do, do nothing. Yeah. When you don't know what to do, do nothing and continue to do what you know to do. But don't do what you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't be hitting your wife. You shouldn't be hitting your husband. You shouldn't be hurting your family. You shouldn't be hurting yourself. And if you get to the point that it is out of control, go for therapy. A lot of pastors too need to go for therapy. A lot of pastors' wives need to go for therapy. A lot of leaders need to go for therapy. At least once a month, visit a therapist. Just as you visit your doctor. Just as you visit your dentist. Your mental health is important. the way that you were raised may not be the right way. And the fact that everybody, look, when you're coming home and your children are running away from you, that's a problem now. Daddy's coming. Mommy's coming. That's a problem. You have a, you have a problem. You're using a razor blade on your child, you have a problem. You're beating your children excessively, you have a problem. You yourself, you are not healed. You are not healed from your own problems. You've turned somebody else into a scapegoat and you have justified it that you are their wife or you are their husband or you are their mother or you are their father. So it is your right to discipline. It is your right to blah, 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 blah. Stop it. Get healed today. God bless you. Bye.